welcome to Pianolin TV, your classical music podcast. This is your host, Alexander Bowie. And today, we're going to discover the differences between a university and a music conservatory. Now, having those in mind, when you're starting out your music career, of course, you want to attend a music college. However, many people don't have to do that. They may have gotten great training when they were a small kid. Growing up, they had a fantastic teacher, and they were born with talent. Or other ways of doing it is just practicing a lot. However, getting a music degree adds so much, how should I say, professionalism in your workforce, especially if you want to have a teaching job. And the question for many, many young people is, what's the difference? And the difference is the curriculum between a music conservatory and a university. I personally went to Manhattan School of Music, both for my, cut this out, there's a sound. I personally went to Manhattan School of Music for my Bachelor of Music and Master of Music degrees, both in classical piano. Now, Manhattan School of Music is located in New York City, United States of America. I specialized in classical piano, and when I entered the Music Conservatory, I was in real shock. Everything was music related. It's fantastic. It's opening up my mind, opening up my ears, everything that I did not imagine when I went to a music conservatory. Certain classes such as oral skills were mandatory. Oral skills, if you're not familiar with it, is training your ear and also music dictation. Music dictation is something that you use basically when someone plays a note, you are to know that it is a C. Now, there's two things in oral skills. Beneficial for people is perfect pitch. When you hear a note, you definitely know what it is. However, the second one is relative pitch, and people who have heard the note like C, and you tell them it's a C, they can relate the other notes based on that. However, if you don't give them the starting note that you don't tell them, it's very hard for them to depict. Now, that's oral skills, ear training again, and music dictation, both that are beneficial for musicians, no matter if you're in classical or jazz, or any other types of genres of music. And then there's music history. This one was very, very difficult because it goes such in depth and all of the history you get. For me, in my bachelor's, we did a whole semester of medieval Renaissance, another semester of Baroque, another semester of classical and romantic, and another semester of contemporary, 20th century contemporary. And for 2 years, you are to study with different teachers specializing in different genres of music. That was hard because growing up, I was used to just Bach, Beethoven, Chopin, Liszt, Rachmaninoff, Brahms, the standard repertoire. But I never dove into the medieval Renaissance. It's so old, it spans back to the 1500s. It's almost 500 years ago, even more. So I was not brought up with that type of music, so it was really, really brand new. Another thing is, in the music conservatory, you really, really are studying with top-notch teachers. I'm not saying a university doesn't have a top-notch teacher. However, in the music conservatory, it's really highly competitive regarding your performance abilities. In the music conservatory, when you audition, that's really what that matters if you get in, and based how you play. It's not based on how you do your test scores in school or how your academics in high school. None of that really matters. However, it could help you. They ask for your SAT scores, your GRE. Those are, how should I say, to put it very nicely, optional. But if you really want to go into music conservatory, such as Manhattan School of Music, Juilliard, Curtis Institute of Music, New England Conservatory, those schools are just a few. There are so much great ones in the US and as well as worldwide. There's a Royal Academy of Music, a great one in Europe. And being in a music conservatory really changed my life. So really performance-based, the academics were really just music inclined, knowledgeable about music, which has helped me really want to study. Music theory is another big one. It goes really deep, depth, complex music theory, such as your standard 4-part harmony to all the way to pitch multiplication. Yeah, you're wondering, what is pitch multiplication? Is this some sort of math? It sort of is, actually. I took this contemporary class really focusing in the 20th, 21st century piano techniques. And most of the stuff that I've learned, I've never heard before. Even 12-tone serial music, I had no idea what that was. And yes, a little bit is based on math. That was the part when atonality was present, getting rid of tonal music, getting rid of that idea. But I'll save that for another episode. And overall in my bachelor's, I really had a fun time, mainly because I was always had performing opportunities, not just as a soloist, but as an accompanist, and also playing chamber music, which I completely adore and love doing right now. With my piano trio, the Raritan Trio, we're still performing and doing concerts despite of COVID. Being in a music conservatory really changed my life. I grew up in a more rural area. There's not city-like. So being in the New York City really helps because I get to connect with like-minded musicians, and there's just too many people into the city. Now, that's for the bachelor's program. Jumping into the university bachelor program, I personally have never participated or went to a university for my bachelor's. However, I am going there for my doctoral studies currently, and I had made a lot of friends in the undergraduate program at Rutgers University, Mason Gross School of the Arts. Many of my colleagues are undergrads. They're very nice people. They are also intelligent as well. And we would always discuss, hey, what's the difference between music conservatory and university? What's it like? And my friends who are in the university settings, they're quite busy. They say, oh, I have to run to this class, run to that class. Not just music classes, but you've got to take your academics, your mandatory math, your science, your English. So in a music conservatory, you don't have to take any of that. The only non-related music course you take is called humanities. So this is more based on, the Odyssey or the Iliad, Greek mythology. It's just a basis for your knowledge. However, these stories are very interesting and a must know for everyone. So I don't think any class in Manhattan School of Music or any great music conservatory is no different. But in a university setting, you've got to take the classes that is not related to your major. You can see it as a pro or a con depending on what your specialized goals are in your life, but that's what they tell me, and the program is different. So as you know or don't know, a university is more academically inclined and a music conservatory is more performance inclined. So you can see the difference already, when you enter a university or music conservatory. And that depends what you want to envision in your life. Do you really want to become a performer, a soloist or an orchestra member? Or do you want more to be more in the music education? There's a difference between teaching your instrument, like such as specializing in teaching piano alone or teaching violin alone. Music education is more of knowing all around. So let's say your instrument is a trumpet, however you have experience playing a clarinet or you're playing a violin. So you can play all different types of instruments, however your specialization is a trumpet. That is more inclined for a university than a conservatory, because a conservatory really, you're getting intensive training in your instrument, and later on you would want to teach your instrument to other students, or you want to perform and really get better at your technique. I'm not saying university doesn't suit you for that. However, the university's academic courses may distract you in that sense of, yes, you want to be a great pianist or you want to be a great saxophonist. I'm not saying any of that. However, it's the coursework that goes around your studies that may impact how you are to learn. And when you are learning at a younger age, at 18, 19, 20, you learn quicker than you are much older, like 23, 24, you know? It actually really makes a big difference. So a university is more academically inclined, music conservatory is more performance inclined. Those are really the general differences and similarities between two of them. There are some similarities. Of course, you get to be around great musicians and get to talk music. Also, the other difference is the campus. Universities usually have a campus and they are pretty big. And Manhattan School of Music is just a building, another building for dormitories. Juilliard is also a building, or maybe another building, but it's not a campus where you can walk around and, you know, run from class to class. So in this case, in a music conservatory, the advantage is you don't have to walk 15, 20 minutes to your class compared to a campus. You may have to take a bus even on the university campus. But so there are pros and cons to both, and whatever you choose, you're gonna get a great education. You just need to know, what is your personal goal? What do you really want to achieve in life? And if you're not sure, try it out. Try music conservatory first. See how you feel. If you don't like it, transfer to a university. Yes, this is actually a thing. You can actually transfer to different schools during your undergrad, your master's, or even your doctoral degrees. There's no saying, once you accept this school, I'm going here until I graduate. No. If it's not for you, you don't seem like you're fitting in very well, you're more than welcome to transfer to another university or to another music conservatory. I've known many colleagues who've done that, and they're very happy with their decisions. So that's just the bachelor's program. The master's program is a little bit different, and doctoral as well. I can only speak from a master's music conservatory side. Jumping to a doctoral at a university. So I was in complete shock because I was in a performance, music conservatory incline. I was always practicing, always studying music. But when I went to my doctoral studies, it was the other way around, academically inclined. So I didn't have much time to practice in my doctoral program because there's so much readings I have to do. So much readings that I barely practice each day. And I felt bad about not practicing. But I realized getting a doctorate doesn't mean that you're gonna just keep studying piano, at least for me. Getting a doctorate means you really have to be knowledgeable in your field regarding everything, and even outside the piano world, maybe know a little bit about the orchestra or a little bit about opera. That's what makes a qualified doctor or professor, they would call. And that's where the high level between a master's and a doctorate degree really makes a difference, especially when you apply for teaching jobs, especially in higher education. So there you go. There's the difference between a university and music conservatory. Thanks for listening. This is Pianolin TV, your classical podcast. If you guys, want points to add to it, I may have missed, especially from the university side. I've never been to a university in my bachelor or my master's. However, I've been there for my doctorate. Thanks so much for watching. Follow us on Pianolin TV, your classical music podcast. We're all on social media platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, and especially YouTube. Follow us for teaching videos as we have extended them to a lot more longer, so you can have a little bit more of fun and inspirational education. They're short. They're still short. They're not 1 minute long anymore, but we wanted to give you a little bit more in depth of what we're talking about instead of just rushing through the topics. So they range from like 5 to 10 minutes. So you can watch it when you're having lunch, or you're eating, or you're just relaxing. So see you guys next time, and we'll be back on Pianolin TV podcast on Thursdays.